All right, so Joni Abbott has combined her love for radio and natural health on Natural News to bring us Homegrown Health, a radio show that pertains to everything family, healthy families, healthy living, and a homegrown lifestyle. Welcome to the program, Joni.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Joey. Hi, Holly. It's been a while since we've spoken, and I'm so happy to hear that you're doing your own show.
Well, we thank you for that, and thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on the program.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to ask you, for people who are unaware, Monsanto was taken to court. Monsanto is the major chemical company. They are the founder or the creator of what we know as Roundup. And they were taken to court, and the verdict was not in their favor. They appealed the verdict, and it still was not in their favor. They reduced the fines tremendously. The judge did. But what are your thoughts on how the verdict finally wasn't in Monsanto's favor? Monsanto's been taken to court many, many times in the United States, and every time the company has always won their case.
Yeah, well, I am ecstatic that now precedent is set for agrochemical companies, that the people are not going to allow them to intentionally hide the dangerous side effects of these chemicals, and that we're going to be suffering the side effects as a result. A lot of people don't remember or understand or didn't read into the fact that not only did glyphosate cause cancer in this case, in this particular case with Dwayne Johnson, but Monsanto also was charged and found guilty for intentionally hiding its dangers. And that does not allow us as consumers to make educated decisions when those things are not being disclosed to us. And this was a 1-2 jab for Bayer, who purchased Monsanto over the summer for $57 billion, because Bayer is also in another lawsuit for a faulty birth control device for women. There is a movie called The Bleeding Edge. It's available on Netflix now. You can watch it, and it showcases and highlights Bayer's other dirty deeds in the medical device industry as well. So they are really getting hit hard with their stocks crashing and everything as a result of Monsanto's verdict. Now, I was sad to see that the judge didn't uphold the $289 million award for this man. It was reduced to $78.5 million. But big win for citizens, and I hope it sets precedents for more agrochemicals in the future.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of things in life, if there's just a warning on the package, it says this could cause blank, blank, blank. Life's a lot easier for everybody because it's out there. You can't blame somebody for what is not being printed. If it's on the package, then there's no liability, I guess is the best way to put it.
Right. It can be a lot easier if full disclosure is really what's most important. But as we know, full disclosure and corporate interest doesn't always go hand in hand. Right.
If we can make more money and just pay out a lawsuit every now and then instead of telling everybody and then hurting us in the long run, it's that type of mindset that's not always ethnic or right, I guess is the word to use.
Ethical.
Yeah.
Ethical. Yeah.
Ethical. Right. Okay. So breastfeeding is it's very common, and is something that is recommended for newborns and young infants. Some women can't achieve that, and that's okay. But in general, it seems to be looked down upon so heavily in today's society, when a lot of us, I think it's just a natural thing and a good thing. But why is it so looked down? I mean, you see half-naked women in display ads, but as soon as somebody, whips that out for its intended purpose, then it's like it's offensive.
Right. Well, there's a couple of things going on with that. I think a lot of it, too, is a lack of education. We haven't normalized breastfeeding enough within our own family structures and within our own communities to really make it not a big deal for other people to see. Most women I know who breastfeed do so in a discreet manner, and they walk around and most people don't even know that they're breastfeeding. I know that's how it was for me. There's lots of ways that you can do that. And lack of education. I think if more women and families were to really educate themselves on the powerful benefits of breastfeeding and knowing that it's going to take time to learn how to do because mom's learning and baby is learning, and it does take a little bit of a time to adjust. But the education on not only how to, what to do when you run into some issues, but having a strong support system. So I cannot recommend for pregnant women and families enough to attend La Leche League meetings. Find a great lactation consultant in your area who comes highly recommended, and have them on hand. And when you go to these meetings and you watch other women breastfeed, then you educate and you're learning kind of in a visual way how it's done. Most women don't know how to breastfeed. This stuff doesn't come with a manual. So it's very important to provide a lot of support for our breastfeeding communities and to help normalize it by not hypersexualizing breasts. It's, they make milk. We have milk ducts and milk glands in our breast tissue and breast anatomy for a reason. And if we can just understand that it's a baby's right to have whole, nutritious, raw food coming from mom and that our body produces and makes it, and it really is the perfect food for our babies. It adjusts at any given time to your baby's specific nutritional needs, and I think that's fascinating.
Absolutely. Well, as winter approaches, what are some things that we can do for our skin that's natural? There's a lot of stuff in which we can rub on our arms and hands that we all know is not good for our bodies. What are some natural ways in which we can keep our skin healthy during the colder months of the year?
Well, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. And he also said, all disease begins in the gut. So when you start even noticing, dry skin in the winter, hey, you want to stay hydrated. You want to keep those organs hydrated with clean water to make sure that your skin doesn't get dry. In the winter, we tend to drink more coffee or hot liquids. We're also not getting vitamin D, so you want to make sure you're consuming foods, berries in particular, that will allow your body to have not only the antioxidants, but the vitamin D that you're not getting from outside. So increasing your intake of things with vitamin D would be helpful. Sea minerals, make sure, you get your bone broth in, and some of the the foods that you've gardened over the summer that you've canned and put up for the winter. That's a really good way to get the nutrients that we aren't getting as the colder months and clouds start to cover our ability to absorb as much sun.
No, definitely. Now, there's a major divide between pro-vaccine people, anti-vax people. I know that a lot of people are saying, polio is coming back, measles are coming back, things like that. What's the viewpoint on vaccinating your children? Where do you fall in this category? If you want to speak to vaccinations and if people are
being over-vaccinated.
Being over-vaccinated. Also, people are concerned about things like polio and measles and stuff that has been eradicated and now it seems to be coming back.
Right. Well, this is a really huge topic, and this could be a whole, 5-day show if we were to really dig into this topic and give it the attention it deserves. What I can speak to is educate before you vaccinate. The package insert that you do get at your pediatrician's office is not a full disclosure of all of the side effects and risks. It is a very condensed, watered-down version, and I don't know that most people are aware about the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program that is funded by our government. $3 billion or more have been awarded to citizens who have vaccine reaction and injury. However, I will tell you that your ability to get through the litigation process in a National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program court is nothing shy of absolutely, it's just exhausting. They have a lot of protocol and wording and usage of the words that have to be just so and just right in order for them to even acknowledge a vaccine injury. It doesn't take rocket science to understand that your child will get a vaccine, and if they have the same symptoms as it is written in the vaccine insert. So when we want to read the package inserts and research all of the things in that insert before you vaccinate your child. And it's a very tedious task. Many people won't do it. But we have to educate first. We also need to take a good look at history, too, and the history of diseases and how things like measles started to decline before the vaccine was ever even invented. And then we also need to look at biology and physiology and looking at how our immune system develops, how our immune system functions. For instance, we get our immune system in utero, and vaginal birth helps to feed our immune system. And we get disease through our mucosal membrane, eyes, ears, mouth. That is how our body is designed to respond to disease. So on a basic foundational level, it does not make sense to me to inject something intramuscularly or indirectly into the blood, because your body has a completely different immune response than it does when you get the disease naturally through your mucosal membranes and having it processed through the body the way that it was designed to first come into contact with disease. As far as things coming back, it is it's provable, and it's very much understood that oftentimes when you get the vaccine, you get the disease that you're vaccinated for. And what we discovered during the polio outbreak was that DDT, which was a pesticide, a deadly pesticide they were spraying on communities to keep mosquito population down, was actually causing this the paralysis and was causing the symptoms of polio. They also forgot to deactivate simian virus 40, and that was a live virus that also helped contribute to the spread of the polio disease and epidemic that we all hear the horror stories about. What's happening now is children who are getting vaccinated are actually having the polio-like symptoms. And there are more statistics and much more research and much more studies that would need to be talked about and addressed in more detail. But, do your research. That's the best thing I can tell you. It's do your research, read the package inserts. A lot of checkbook science goes into the majority of these industries, especially with that, like in agrochemicals, in our food, and in our vaccines, and in our medicine. We need to really understand that checkbook science is not necessarily dyed-in-the-wool true science. Any company can buy and pay for those research papers.
Absolutely. Well, Joni, we greatly appreciate you coming on the program. How can we find out more about you? I know you've relaunched your podcast that you had that was kind of dormant for a while. Where can we find more about you?
I have. Thank you so much. So Homegrown Health is my podcast. It's a weekly podcast. It comes out every Wednesday, and you can find me on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes. I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well. On Instagram, I'm at the only Just Joni. So I would love to, have more interaction with you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. And she covers these topics and a whole lot more on her podcast. You should certainly check it out. Well, Joni, thank you very much for taking time out of your day, not only to educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners.
Thank you so much.